And I confess to some embarrassment and shame that when I first read the breaking news this morning that the Transport Minister, Sindisiwe Chikunga, had been robbed and her bodyguards had been robbed of their firearms in an early morning incident on the N3 near Johannesburg yesterday, I thought, we spend so much money on VIP security and they're not very good, are they? And then I thought, no, actually, let's be very careful here. Let me not say anything which can be interpreted as taking any kind of joy or any kind of delight or any kind of schadenfreude at what has happened to the minister. She says that, and this anybody who was in the situation, she says that she is devastated and traumatized, as would anybody be. If you don't know the detail of the incident, she and her protectors, and her brother was in the car with her, were on the road, and it is quite clear that there were some people waiting at the side of the road for a car to have a puncture as a result of some pointy things that they put on the road. And when it happened to be the minister's car, when the bodyguards changed the tyre and were just about to get back into the car, three men emerged from behind the bushes and held them all up and took a lot of the minister's private possessions and robbed the bodyguards of their weapons. And of course you can gently raise a question: how good are the bodyguards if they allow themselves to be disarmed in this way? Was there no thought? Did they not get out, scan the road and say, oh, there are a lot of things strewn across the road that suggest that maybe they were trying to bring cars to a halt so that the inhabitants of those cars... So there's kind of situational awareness problem in there, it seems to me, that they went, oh, we got a puncture, let's change the wheel, and then, oh, hands up, yes, of course you can have my weapons. So it's not particularly good VIP protection, is it? But that doesn't mean that we should take pleasure in what has happened. But it does, again, I think, legitimately raise the question of the amount of money that is spent on VIP security. And I was just doing a little bit of research, and it's close to 3.5 billion rand now a year. Close to 3.5 billion rand a year for VIP protection and static protection for politicians. Contrast that with the Hawks getting a budget of close to 2.5 billion to investigate serious crimes in the country. So the politicians have more money spent on their protection than the citizens of this country have, in a sense, spent on their protection. Because that's what the Hawks are there, to prevent us from being the victims of serious crime. And there are a heck of a lot more of us than there are of politicians. So the amount of money spent on each individual citizen versus the amount of money spent for the protection of each individual politician is insanely imbalanced. Insanely imbalanced. But it speaks to that sense of the politicians believing that they are special, that they are more important than us. Which they're not. Which they are not. I find it hard not to have a bit of schadenfreude about this. Yeah, I understand that. But think about the fact that this is an individual who's been put through a traumatic experience. And it's no less traumatic for Minister Chikunga than it would be for me or George or Alexis. So let's not have too much schadenfreude about it. They could have called for backup. Well, that goes to the situational awareness thing. I understand it was early in the morning, so it was probably dark, but why have we got a puncture? Surely that's one of the first questions that VIP protectors should be asking. I'm protecting a VIP. We've been brought to a halt by a puncture. Was that puncture deliberately caused? Let me just check. Yes, it was deliberately caused. Minister, back into the car, stand there, guns pointed, while somebody's on the phone for backup. That would seem to me to be the professional way to deal with it. This incident is more likely to increase the 3.5 billion rand that is spent on the politicians. Perhaps that is true.